continuing look at karting over the world, and I'm afraid Suzuka-like conditions at Valence in France. We're looking first at the Federation Cup, and this is very much an amateur competition, non-factory supported machinery, and that doesn't mean any lack of driving or preparation standards. It just mean non-works supported machines and drivers. We're looking now at the pre-final race for the 1998 Federation Cup, and this will decide grid positions for the final. And again, as you can see on the warm-up lap, drivers having to face some fairly miserable track conditions. And an Ayrton Senna replica helmet doing the rounds there. What that tells us about the intentions of its wearer. Well, on pole position, from the front row of the grid at least, James Rose, number 85 from Great Britain, who qualified second. Dropping down a fraction as the early leader is Anthony Bain from France. And then Domenico Laudani, number 64 there, taking over. He was the fastest man in the qualifying sessions and leading the race. Anthony Bain. Well, action now from rounds 13 and 14 of the British Superbike Series at Knock Hill. Niall Mackenzie on pole from teammate Steve Hislop. Qualifying heats. So 92. Racing hard there, leading the pack in second place. There is the Frenchman, there is the Belgian, and 64, Domenico Laudani, as you might expect from Italy. Looking down the inside, trying to hold on to his third place position. Again, very, very wet here at Valence. 85 James Rose trying to fight his way back into the lead group. Another position more or less on the grid. Might not necessarily seem like a huge amount, but it's all pretty important stuff. Moving up the order there, number 7, I beg your pardon, not John Anderson of Denmark at all. That's Mark Bentz of Switzerland. But the battle for the lead really starting to come alive now. In third place is Finn Mika Volotinen from the 9th starting position. He's moved up into third place. There he is, number 1, 2, 3. And again, still in fourth place, Domenico Laudani likes the inside line on his 64 machine. Well, very wet and very miserable. 149 off in the gravel, and that is Rafael Greci Spada from Spain. And the Finn pushing up the order there, going nicely down the inside, and his rival running onto the curbs. And Domenico Laudani contesting that third spot all the way, but losing it in the end. The battle all the way to the line between Anthony Bain, 92 here, and 46 Bram van Beek, the Frenchman leading the Belgian. Still the Finn in third place and opening up some considerable margin. Laudani, the fastest man in qualifying. We saw him bounce over the curves, but he survived that little excursion there, and he holds on to fourth place. The Finn closing now on the lead battle, and Laudani under pressure loses another spot. John Anderson of Denmark goes by him. Van Beek ahead and battling all the way down the field. And Van Beek now starting to pull away the number 46 machine. 92 in second place is Bain, then Volotinen 123. And then Anderson the Dane in fourth place. Oof, little push up the tail there for Mark Bentz. And the Swiss rattling over the gravel. And giving that universal single-digit symbol of disapproval to his rival. But since there aren't mirrors on karts, I think that was rather wasted. .118 here, Heikki Kovalainen. We were just watching him, the Finn, and he was 18th on the grid. So he's doing well to be just outside the top half dozen at the moment. But the Frenchman and the Belgian really romping away with this one. Finn still in third place. And fourth place for John Anderson, the Dane. And Anderson has really come up the grid nicely from 7th place. But in third place, the Finn, Valtterainen, who started in 9th. Van Beek still really safe from pressure from Bain. Valtterainen now really doesn't seem to be able to catch them. And the pole position man there, 64, Laudani again. With that almost Nigel Mansell coloured helmet. He's not the first Italian we've seen in karting with Il Leone helmet replica. Mansell's helmet colours clearly as popular in Italy as they are in Great Britain. Nicely controlled. And as you can see, still the wet weather tyres not giving great grip. That well-held slide moment or two ago by Davide Silvestri of Italy. Van Beek there just looking down, checking to see just how wet his bottom was getting, I imagine. But he's leading nicely, no problems at all. Driving with a pair of bright yellow marigolds on, doesn't really look that groovy, but he seems to be doing the job. And finding enough grip as well is the important thing. Taking victory here in the pre-final. So that's the way they'll line up then for the final of the Federation Cup. And as you can see, the weather hasn't improved a great deal. So away they go then. And an awful lot of hands waving in the air on the warm-up lap. Are they in line abreast? Yes, pretty much. The pole position man, number 46, bringing them round, Jan van Beek. And away they go, and Van Beek doesn't get a great start off the line, does he? Blitzed away by the man who was third, Mika Valentinen. And as in every form of motor racing, the first lap really a time to try and make those moves. And Valentinen doing so. Bain in third place, Van Beek, the winner of the pre-final, in second in between the two of them. So Valentinen revelling in these conditions quite clearly. Up into fourth place has gone 1:46, and that is Jakob Bowman of Denmark. I wonder if these conditions perhaps favour the Scandinavians a little more. I don't know whether they spend more of their life racing on wet tracks than maybe the Italians and other southern Europeans. But certainly they're not doing too badly at the moment. Heikki Kovalainen is number 118. He's in fourth place at the moment. It's the field really starting to stretch out. These back markers have been involved in little clashes of their own. 146 in second place. That's Jakob Bowman now really moving up the field. Oh dear, and a little bit of gravel trapping for Andre Lips, the Swiss. Battle on here, no question about it. 123, Mika Valentinen, and 146, Jakob Bowman. The Finn versus the Dane, and they're both off, clattering into the gravel. Straight by goes 118, that's Heikki Kovalainen. Well, the Scandinavians now with work to do. Anthony Bain leading. Kovalainen in second place behind him. Off goes 45, and he drops down the order as well now. That's David Rave of Belgium. And if anything, it looks as though the weather is getting worse. 41 and 72 hard at it. Isabel Leiter in 41, and Davide Silvestre going inside her there in 72. But Brand van Beek leading this. It almost looks as though he's just on a practice run on his own. Well, Van Beek having his success out front, and I'm afraid David Rave there on 45 visiting the gravel almost again for a second time. Rafael Gracia Spada, we saw him in exactly the same strife in the pre-final, crunching off into the gravel. Now trying to restart, he does so, and he's put some mud and gravel on the exit of the corner. Next time somebody runs wide there, they'll be off as well. Pushing hard then, 1:18, Heikki Kovalainen in second place. And here is Mika Volatainen chasing hard. But Bram van Beek leading them all the way to the checkered flag. The Belgian winning in his Rotax-powered all-cart. Heikki Kovalainen and the CRG combination in second place. And the Dane John Anderson taking third place on his Dino. João Figueiredo of Portugal in fourth place, number 181. And another Figueiredo to contend with, perhaps. So Bram van Beek, the Belgian, winning the Federation Cup from the Finn Heikki Kovalainen, John Anderson of Denmark in third place. We'll be back after the break in a moment with more action from Valence. Don't go away. In France for the Intercontinental A race. And again, we're starting with the pre-final. On the pole position, number 103 from France, Laurent Mazière, and Tom Pedersen of Denmark, 154 alongside him. As they bring the field round, 34 starters here. The last of those, Adam Carroll of Great Britain. But this, of course, is for a position on the grid in the final, or to decide the positions on the grid in the final. Tom Ferrier of Great Britain starting sixth here, and perhaps in with a good shot of victory. We've seen drivers winning races here from 8th, 9th, 10th on the grid. The leaders bring them round then. Bringing the field under control, slow down and separate into your two lines is the message. And absolutely no attention being paid to that whatsoever. I'm sorry, you're on the warm-up lap, you're a racing driver. Some fool standing at the side of the track is going to make no difference whatsoever. A couple of early excursions there from the outside of the middle of the grid. Guillaume Capuetti and Thomas Letaille going off, but the leaders making it through safely. And then a little embouteillage there in the middle of the field. A spinner, predictably enough, collecting a few additional casualties. 103 leading then, Laurent Mazière. Behind him from the fifth starting position, Damiano Chiesa. Italian. I don't know, I'm afraid, whether he is related or not to Andrea Chiesa, the Formula 2 and Formula 3000 racer. But there he is in second spot anyway. And once more, as we saw in the Federation Cup race, this is really just dreadful, dreadful racing weather. Third place is 154 from second on the grid. That was Tom Pedersen of Denmark. As you can see, in these conditions, it really does take an awful lot longer for the field to sort itself out. So many drivers making mistakes that they all stay fairly well bunched up. And a little mistake there from Laurent Mazière, but he got away with it. Chiesa right with him. As we see so often in European kart racing, France versus Italy. The can see the trouble Chiesa is having here. Turns in, nothing works, straightens up, gets off the brakes, turns in again, still not happening, turns in for a third time. Finally the kart decides to follow its commands. And that's very much the case here. It's driving by the seat of the pants stuff. And these guys really working hard in these conditions. The rain visors and the wet weather suits doing their best to protect the drivers, but really not much chance of anything else. Fourth place at the moment is another Italian, Marco Adrigo. He's number 52. And then behind him, number 78, Tom Ferrier of Great Britain. He's in 5th, started in 6th on the grid. Get a chance to see them coming head on. You can actually make out who is where, for a moment or two at least. But no doubting who's doing the battling for the lead. Mazière, the Frenchman, number 103. And Chiesa, the Italian, number 55. And there they are again, as we saw in the Federation Cup, the leaders being able to get away from the chasing pack as a result of the fact that they can see where they're going. And if they make a mistake, they don't suddenly have 5 or 6 people coming past. 78 now, Tom Ferrier of Great Britain up into 4th place. He's got 112, Luc Duval of France, and 99, Guy Thomas, I beg your pardon, Thomas Guy of France behind him. So the Brit up into 4th place from 6th on the grid. I'm afraid in these dreadful conditions, you're as likely as I am to pick out where Adam Carroll, number 76, has got to. That's not him at least, I can tell you that much. 119 off and looking for somewhere dry to go and slump, I think, there probably. Leaders still easing away. And the battles midfield. Now, if this was a dry race, these would be pretty much nose to tail, not wheel to wheel battles. But again, the wet weather conditions being a bit of a leveller, and they really do bunch the field together. These two, the only drivers in the race who've got any kind of break, really. The spinners and the stragglers at the tail, similarly a little bit on their own, but the vast percentage of the 34 starters still in one big lump together. And even guys with this level of ability still running out of road and over the curbs in these dreadful conditions. 96 there was Marc Florence, battling hard for position and trying to pick himself up and start all over again there. 156, but we return again to the lead battle. And still the Frenchman holding on. Chiesa not able to find a way past, but now he does. So Damiano Chiesa leading for the first time in this race from 5th on the grid, and that will give him pole position for the Intercontinental final. And as we've seen in both the heats we've seen so far and the final of the Federation Cup, the inside line down to the first corner and being able to control the grid speed to the line is a very, very major advantage. Being on the outside of the front row is not good. We've not yet seen a second place starter make a really effective getaway. Again, you can see running offline to overtake somebody here, you do run the risk of falling into standing water. Little groups now starting to isolate themselves, gaps starting to open up, but as you can see there are still a lot of multiple karts battles all the way down the field. Well, Chiesa still leading. Laurent Mazière doesn't seem to have much of an answer to him, does he? The hardy spectators around the track being treated to some very, very close racing. I think a fair degree of it is fairly confusing though, trying to figure out who's whom. Chiesa from Mazière. 3rd place now, 154, Tom Pedersen of Denmark. Well, we've already seen him do very well. And 4th place, is Tom Ferrier, and he's got Guillaume Capietto. Right, I beg your pardon, that's Fabio Francia, number 62, right behind him. Chiesa still controlling the front of the race. And the Briton Tom Ferrier under pressure for his 4th place at the moment. Again, another change in position. 93 there, making a small mistake. Guillaume Capietto, that was. Getting past. Again, with the standing water at the side of the circuit. That's normally where you would run wide out of that top corner. But at your peril here, I'm afraid. If you're sliding so much you need that extra bit of track to control it, I'm afraid you're in big trouble because you won't find any control out there. Chiesa doing a very good job at the moment. And really into the final stages. Since he got past, Chiesa has looked pretty much unchallenged by the Frenchman. I think Laurent Mazière may well be considering this a lost cause. Tom Peterson still in 3rd, Tom Ferrier still in 4th, but really under pressure now from 93. Guillaume Capietto coming inside him. And they're on the last lap. Will Capietto hold it to the line for 4th place? He does indeed. Tom Ferrier goes down to 5th place on the final lap. Chiesa winning though for Italy from Mazière of France. And the friends, the families and the mechanics getting a thorough wet foot cold sensation as the rain continues to fall. So as they line up for the final then, Damiano Chiesa, that's him, 55 and 103, Laurent Mazière on the front row of the grid. On row 2, Tom Peterson of Denmark and Guillaume Capietto of France. On row 3, Tom Ferrier of Great Britain and Frédéric Olagnan of France, ahead of Luc Duval and Fabio Francia, the Frenchman and the Italian, on row 4 of the grid. So I can tell you that Adam Carroll, who started the pre-final 34th and last, finished that race in 14th position. Great drive. Picked up 20 places in what was truly a very hectic midfield. And so he starts on the outside of row 7 here. Very good race indeed from the young man from Great Britain. Swiss Hutless chassis, Rotax engine. And like almost everybody in the lead group, he was on Bridgestone tyres. 93, Guillaume Capietto on Dunlops and off into the water there. And 154 rejoining as well. And that's bad news for Tom Peterson. The second row of the grid taking themselves out there on the first lap. Well, good for the leaders, good for everybody else, but very bad news indeed for Capietto and Peterson, clashing on that first lap. Well, what's the old racing adage? You never win a race on the first corner, but you quite often lose one. So Chiesa leading, 106 and 101 battling hard behind, and they have come a long way up the order. Look at this, it really is confusion reigning all the way down here. So Chiesa for certain out front. And then who have we got? It is 106 and 101. Well, this is quite an unbelievable start from Julien Poncelet. 106, started 11th, and he is now in 2nd place. Off again goes 99, and Thomas Guillot doing himself no favours at all there. And it's a very confused midfield at the moment. Well, there is the man who has certainly made the best of getaways, number 101. And right behind him, 164, Nicky Pastorelli of Denmark, of Holland. And Pastorelli moving past. With him as well, 39, Steen Lakuta of Belgium. And 106 ahead of them, and that's Julien Poncelet still. So this has been a very, very rumbustious opening session here. Very confused opening laps. I don't know if you're as confused as I am, but there, what's he done? Has he thrown a chain? He certainly hasn't seized. So 101, well, what a disappointment for him. He's out of it. Thomas Letaille from France had really come up very, very strong indeed, from 20th on the grid to be in the top half dozen before he went out there. 107, pushing hard there. And here's also a big gainer from the grid, Manuel Renaudi of France. Started 31st and worked his way well up the order here. Well, for everybody climbing up the order, there must of course be a respective number going down. The only person who isn't at the moment, Damiano Chiesa. 106 in second place. And then battling for fourth place there, 76, that's Adam Carroll of Great Britain. He's in fifth at the moment from 14th on the grid. Started the pre-final in 34th and last place. Well, I don't know whether he's got a kart track in his back garden, but he has a sprinkler on permanently. But Adam Carroll is having a superb race here in these very, very trying conditions indeed. 106 in second place still. And that is Julien Poncelet of France. But the leader is number 55. And he is having a great race. Damiano Chiesa keeping his nose clean and keeping himself well out of trouble. Off goes 93. Guillaume Capietto. And you can see the contact that he's survived. And I'm not sure that that is going to start for him. Oh. Disasters. Well, now, for the first time really all race, Chiesa under pressure, and 106 taking the battle to him. Julien Poncelet of France. Chiesa not having it his own way at all. This really is a very, very impressive drive from Poncelet. Started in 11th place on the pre-grid. And now challenging for the lead. That just really shows exactly how topsy-turvy the rain can make a race. And how a good driver can quite often excel in conditions where power and chassis setup may not be as all-important as they might otherwise tend to be. Well, Poncelet, like the leader on Bridgestones, and the Dunlop and Vega runners really struggling in these conditions, I'm afraid. '78 there, Tom Ferrier, still in the top half dozen and battling away. He's in a very, very tough battle at the moment, though. And haven't seen much sign of Adam Carroll for a while. We're seeing so much of this lead battle. It's hard to tell what's going on down the order, and finally the lead does change. Julien Poncelet, the Frenchman, gets past Damiano Chiesa of Italy, and Chiesa, the poleman, headed for the first time all race. Didn't have a good shot, try and pick out who is in third place, but look, they're returning back down the straight here, and there's still no sign of the third place man. They have the most phenomenal advantage out front, these two. Miles and miles clear of anybody else. Nobody else even remotely in contention. The two CRG machines here on their Bridgestone tyres, leading this one quite comprehensively. And here's the battle for third. 112, Luc Duval. 72, that's the Briton. Well, Luc Duval taking over third place, as we saw. A couple of laps after his countryman, Julien Poncelet, taking the lead. 33, that's Didier Gollandine behind him in fourth place. He's a Belgian. But the Frenchman really just driving away. Poncelet really easing away from this lot now. And the checkered flag. You can never say in conditions like this that a winner doesn't deserve it. The CRG machines there ruling the roost. Poncelet and Chiesa from Duval, the Frenchman. Gollandine of Belgium ahead of Lecuta of Belgium. And Gerard Batalla of Spain taking sixth place. And the British drivers, I'm afraid, faded towards the end. Adam Carroll dropping right down from that challenge for fourth place he made to finish 18th. And even worse news, 78, Tom Ferrier sliding all the way down to 24th position. So a good early showing from both of them, but disappointment in the end. But the big trophy comes to Julien Poncelet of France. Disappointment, I'm sure, for Damiano Chiesa of Italy in second place. But the Intercontinental final and the Bridgestone trophy going to Bridgestone runner Julien Poncelet. Well, that's it from us for this time out. Until the next time, it's goodbye from me.